So I see two questions here. Uh, can you hear me, Binaji?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So why did the Devadasi tradition fade, and how do we revive it? Now, I told you about the different contexts in which this patra, this character called Devadasi, was performing in society. But there were discrepancies in the system right from the beginning. Because if you have one clan just being dedicated to the temple, that lady who is not allowed to marry, and although she is hailed at Nitya Sumangali and Swamini and whatnot, but then she doesn't have the name of a wife. So she needs a patron, and then she has children through him, he who is already married. So, although some people argue that she had the agency of choosing the partner, but whatever said and done, she was not his wife. And he had a wife. So, there were these two households which were fulfilling all the needs of the man, the patron. But what about the Grahastha, the wife of that man, and this Devadasi who is anyway a bride? So, and Devadasi was allowed to study, practice her art, live a free life. Economically, also very free. She used to own property. And in fact, there are many Devadasis who even built temples. But what about that woman inside the house who has absolutely no power, financial, artistic, whatsoever? So, in the period of several decades, when the patronage starts changing from Hindu rulers to Muslim rulers, then Britishers, Zamindari, but slowly the system started crumbling down. Because when there is money involved, when there are multiple roles being, kind of negotiated in the society, when as she lives as an idea of a Swamini, but then she is not treated as a Swamini. And there, the Grahasthin, who is also taken as the Ardhangini of the patron, there she has absolutely no powers. Now, such things kind of brought down the system. And some of the Devadasis did go into prostitution because it was a question of patronage. So eventually, when the patra is facing such kind of challenges, that also affects the kala, the art, how it's being practiced, for whom it's being practiced, what is the purpose and the role of the art, kept on changing over a period of time with this change in the role of Devadasi and how she was perceived in the society. And sadly, what happened is that in any kind of system which is not functioning, the weakest character is thrown out of the whole thing. She kind of takes the entire blame of the system, which is very wrong. The temples where Devadasi was performing, they did not shut down. The Zamindari system found its own way of remolding itself in the modern world. But who suffered? Devadasi suffered. And then the society conveniently told her to shut up, to stay inside her house, which was now controlled by her sons. And her voice was muted because the society again told her that, okay, now we don't need your dance. Your dance is cheap. And that's how the laws were passed against her. Of course, the system should have been stopped, which is good. And there should not be any woman dedicated to the temple in the way that it was being done. But the art suffered, those artists suffered. And overnight, their identity was quashed. Their names were erased from history. And that is something which was very painful, especially in the Telugu speaking areas, because here the laws are very stringent. Here, the scholars who should have spoken very vehemently for the Devadasis, and even not only for Devadasis, but a transition of the system should have happened in terms of the practice of the art, where these practitioners should have been given their voice, their due. That was not done properly, and the very convenient way was to completely eradicate the system, and which is why the art suffered. And it took almost 3-4 decades for people like Nataraja Ramakrishna sir, Kala Krishna sir, Swapna Sundari, and Dr. Arudra, to all of them to come together and go into the areas where Telugu was spoken, research the art form again, talk to these women again, get their confidence back. Because for so many decades they were asked not to speak. And then suddenly these scholars, they go and ask her, okay, please tell us about the art form. So initially there was a resistance, but with the sincerity of the purpose, that art was bequeathed to the next generation very selflessly. Madula Lakshmi Narayana, Madula Venkatratnam, Saridi Anusuya, Kottagari Ranganayaki, so many artists, they taught Swapna Sundariji and Kalakrishna Garu, and the scholarship of all these people, it kind of gave another life to Devadasi Atam. So the two interpretation of the Dasi Atam are Andhra Natyam, which is the interpretation of Dr. Nataraja Ramakrishna, and Vilasani Natyam, which is the interpretation of Swapna Sundariji. So now in this 21st century, we are practicing both these art forms. They have their own identity. And like there are two Banis in Bharatanatyam, Tanjavur and Valvur, like you have Pandanalu, different Banis in Bharatanatyam. Like in Kathak, you have Jaipur Gharana and Lucknow Gharana. In that way, the Dasi Atam has now found two branches, so to speak. One is Andhra Natyam, one is Vilasani Natyam.
So just in addition to what I asked earlier was that, isn't there no way, I mean, I understand that, you don't have those people to sort of sponsor the Devdasis, and that whole system actually fell apart. But isn't there still dance being performed in the temples? And maybe people are householders and they also do the dance form in the temples. Does that happen?
Yes, and there is only one temple in our country where special permission has been taken from the government. It's in Hyderabad, in Rangbagh, which is Ranganatha Swami Temple, and it's run by the Pittis, their foundation. And every year during Brahmotsavam, Swapna Sundariji and her students, they dance from the first day till the last day. They perform Nitya Sevas, morning, evening Sevas, the regular Sevas, and also Naimitya Sevas. Naimitya is something which is not done daily, done on special occasions like Kalyanotsava. So there they will perform when the deities are being married, and when they are taken inside, there is a very beautiful song called Talputi Tsepata, where the bridegroom's family requests the bride's family to open the door. And there'll be these two parties, talking to each other and singing songs. And it's a very participatory ritual.
Okay.
All the devotees will kind of go in on either sides. And it's a very lively thing which happens. And then the bridegroom and the bride will be taken inside, and they'll make them sit on the unjal, that is the swing. And there's a different song which is sung for that. And finally, they are put to sleep with a lalipata. That's the lullaby that the Devadasi sings. And a very different ritual which I wanted to mention here is Ekanta Seva, which happens on a daily basis, where before putting him to sleep, she sings him a song. That's not lali. That's a song which only she and the god have the audience to. Nobody else is there. And she sings songs of union, of separation, of how she has to negotiate between different worlds, her mortal world and this divine world, and how she tells him that no matter what happens, I'm going to be with you. So there are such songs, beautiful padams in Devadasi tradition, which are sung in the Ekanta Seva. Okay. So you see how close the relationship is of Devadasi and the Lord. The rituals which I hope next year they do Brahmotsavam, Ishwaricha, people should see how, and these rituals are not done by Devadasis. I really hope that their family also gets involved. I really hope there comes a day where the next generation, the present generation of Devadasi families, some of them are doing it. And there should be more active participation from those families as well, wherein there is this dialogue between all the communities which serve the art form. It is not about who is performing the art. That's not, I think, the concern. It should not be the concern anymore. Whether it is the member of the Devadasi family or if it's a Brahmin woman, that should not be the question at all. First of all, we should stop thinking the art in terms of caste. There is this entire controversy about Brahmanism and Devadasi system and all that. And my take on it is that it's high time that we stop compartmentalizing the art in these sectors. We should stop talking about the purity of the art form and who is doing it in a more pure way and which is the more appropriated way. I think one should go beyond these narratives. Yes, wrong has been done. Devadasi system was exploitative and it has stopped. The society made a big blunder in practicing such a thing, but it is stopped. Now, as artists, as conscious citizens of this country now, I think it's time that we, all of us, people from the community, people outside the community, come together, they dialogue, they bring out all their sorrows, maybe, in a very open manner, on an open platform, and bring the community, bring the society on a stage where the art takes the precedence. And that is happening. There are practitioners who think beyond the caste and the class and the creed and the color parameters, and now we are just there to serve the art.
That's really nice. Are there any more questions? Does anybody have any questions for Purvadhanashree? I think you have covered a lot in these few questions. I think a lot has been said. So I'm not seeing any questions. So then maybe we can, and we have actually crossed our time as well. So maybe we can close at this point. But I just want to thank you so much for being here and for those.
Thank you so much, Binaji, and for bringing Vilasani Natyam to people. I'm sure there are many who did not know about this art form before. So thank you so much for giving this platform. I'm really blessed.
Thank you so much for doing it for us. That's really, we have to thank you. And I'm going to call Shri Premji, our director, to give the vote of thanks, please. And after that, I'll announce the forthcoming programs.
Thank you, Purvadhanashree, for this exciting insight into this form of dance. I think the deep knowledge that you have, more than the dance that you perform, the knowledge that you carry with you about this dance is really amazing. It looks like you've got a PhD in this area. So, on behalf of Rtambhara, I really thank you from the bottom of our heart for this outstanding insight you've given us on this art, and thank you very much for this session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, I'll just tell you about the few programs that are coming up. On Friday, 7th August, I will be speaking on happiness, and the title of the program is Happiness Decoded. On Sunday, 9th August, we have the yoga program as usual by Umesh Dagachi, starting at 7 a.m. And on 11th August, Tuesday, and we had told you to block your dates, we have a very special program coming your way. And Ricky Cage will be speaking to us on music for healthy people and a healthy planet. So please look forward to all these postings. They'll be done on the WhatsApp groups and through email, and will also be there on Facebook and all the social media. So please register as early as possible so you can attend all these programs. Thank you again so much for your presence and participation today from all of us at Rtambhara. Namaste.